Welcome to the FIsionaries podcast, sponsored by Alchemy. I'm your host, Jim Marous. The FIsionaries podcast shines a light on financial institutions at the cutting edge of digital transformation, providing you with the tips and tricks to elevate your digital game no matter what size your organization. On today's episode of the FIsionaries podcast, I'm at Alchemy's CoLab event in Grapevine, Texas. I'm joined by Matt Singleton, Vice President of Payment and Business Solutions at Star Financial Bank. Matt's going to talk about how, despite having a modest size, it's not impossible to have a mighty vision, proving that innovation isn't just for the big players. From harnessing cutting-edge innovation and technology to fostering deep personal relations with clients, Matt's going to illustrate how Star Bank is redefining what it means to be a commercial banking partner. So, Matt, welcome to the FIsionaries podcast. We talked a little bit before the podcast. You have a very diverse background. Can you talk a little bit about what your background, career has been?
Yeah, I've been with Star for about 4.5 years. Started just pre-pandemic, and prior to that, I spent time at a large regional bank, Huntington Bank, and super regional Midwest player. So just taking a lot from what they did from a digital perspective, and very digitally focused, very forward-thinking bank, and so yeah, I've been able to kind of parlay that into being a Star. And prior to that, I spent some time bouncing around playing baseball for a while, and I didn't ever expect to land in a banking job, but it's fun. It's a lot of something new every day, and especially in the payments world, and on the commercial side of the house, there's always something, as you know, happening. Yeah, every other day, every other week. So happy to be here and looking forward to conversation.
What's interesting is most organizations at the event here, Grapevine, are talking about digital transformation. They're talking about innovation. They're talking about technology. Most are talking about the retail side of the bank because it's the side that has more customers from a number standpoint. But the commercial side of the bank is very serious. There's a lot of money there. It's a lot of funding, a lot of lending, everything else that's being done. But it's just getting into the digital elements of what's going on and how you can bring new digital solutions to a commercial space. What is Star's vision with regard to the commercial space and the integration of technology and digital transformation?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the biggest thing for us is just ease of use for our customers. On the consumer side, they're used to just having a nice, easy, simple way to transact, and then they go to the commercial side, and even at the larger institutions, you have to deal with a very robust system, and sometimes it's not the easiest thing, and there's tokens, and just everything that goes into it. So really for us, it's about creating that same journey on the commercial side, and just making sure that the way that you bank on the consumer side fits the commercial side and is very simple. And with the amount of, to your point, payments, the number of payments, the dollar amount of payments going through, it's extremely important. But we realize that our customers want to be able to get online and make a payment easily and not feel like they have to go into multiple systems. And it's an important piece of obviously their business. And for us, we're very focused on the C&I side of the house, the commercial side of the house, and we've been able to utilize our platform with Alchemy really and create some of that easy functionality for our customers that they've really enjoyed coming to what in theory is to your point, a smaller community bank from some of the bigger players. So that's really what we're trying to do, is just create the easiest path for our customers and make sure that everybody gets paid when they're supposed to get paid, and bills get paid, and employees get paid on time, and that's really our main focus.
It's interesting because I came from the retail side of National City Bank, where my career started in Cleveland, Ohio. And most of my focus has been on the retail side, but as I understand more and more about the commercial side, it used to be, how do you do with the organization? How do you provide payroll? How do you provide all kinds of other commercial lockbox, all these other channels? But it was about the commercial. It now appears that we've really come full circle, and we're talking about the people within the organization. Because you can't make it easier for a company. You got to make it easier for the person. And the digital transformation journey is really about, as you said, how to make payments. How do I make it so the person's in charge of these areas don't just spend so much time with the banking component of that? So it's very much taking on the the feel of the retail side as far as what our objectives are. What has Star done with Alchemy and beyond Alchemy to make that process better?
Yeah. I mean, we've focused a lot in the last year on just expanding our payment channels. I mean, we've in the last 2-3 weeks here, we've gone live on the receive side for both RTP and FedNow. And our focus is knowing that from a liquidity management perspective, commercial clients, that there's tons of money coming in and out, and our focus has been on how do we make that easier for our customer. How do we get money in their accounts quicker? How do we get money out of their accounts quicker? So our main focus has really been on expanding what we do digitally again, and we expect that a customer logs on and they submit a payroll file, they submit an ACH file, they submit a wire. And Alchemy's been a wonderful partner as far as the integration that they provide, because again, there's a lot of different vendors in the market, and everybody's got their own flair on how to make payments, how to send payroll. So we've trusted Alchemy as far as our journey goes to integrating into our system and making sure that it just feels uniform for our customer to log in and make a payment. They don't feel like they're being outsourced to another third party. And so that's really where our focus has been. And we looked to Alchemy first to help us in that journey, and they've been a very good partner for us.
So when you talk about payments, I was at an event, now it's a year and a half ago. We were talking about rapid payments and the potential of the instant payments scenario wasn't in place yet. We had major financial institutions from across the country at the meeting. We asked, how many of you are going to implement instant payment solutions FedNow at the beginning? Nobody raised their hand. Now the person who invited me looking at him going like blew my mind. I could not believe nobody raised their hand. I go, and they asked, why is that? Some institutions said, we got to see what the finances are going to be, what the numbers, dollars and cents are going to be. Got to figure out who does it and if the consumer even wants it. All these, what I call weak answers to a very basic customer experience question, which is, what is the consumer going to want? They don't want rapid payments.
Yeah.
They don't want instant payment. How do you go about that decision-making at Star? Because we see most of the organizations right now still who have implemented this are your more modest-sized organizations. Why is that? Is that the customer focus, or what's the rationale? Because it's not necessarily a moneymaker. In fact, you could argue that it's not. Why that decision? Because as an industry, it's all about the line.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, the biggest thing is you want to get it right. You want to have a customer, you want to be able to say, we want to get money out the door and in the door quickly, right? Yeah. And if that's real time, awesome. And I think most institutions probably take the same spot of saying, all right, we want to see how they come in, right? When we turned on, the networks, I wasn't sure what was going to come in the next day. I mean, it could have been $10 million. It could have been $14, So, and that's really where we've looked but most importantly, we want to get it right for a customer. We want to know that if they're clicking on a button to send a payment out, that their vendor, their, payroll, whoever they're paying is going to get that instantly, and it's going to go out without cause, without concern. And, so that's the route we've taken. But at the same time, we wanted to be, not on the forefront of the change, because there's obviously several institutions that are way ahead of that. But for our size, we feel like it's a competitive advantage in the commercial space specifically to be able to offer that to our customers. But again, from a digital experience perspective, you want to get it right, or else it's really going the other way if you're not doing it right.
You just shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
It's interesting because if you build it, they don't always necessarily come. You just reference that. Or how is your organization now making it so it actually has an impact on the consumer because they'll know it? But again, I see a lot of organizations that have it, and it's kind of like invisible. It's, okay, we got it.
Yeah.
We have them for those who ask, as opposed to we're actually promoting the fact that we're different than the bank down this way and down that way.
Yeah, I mean, we're in that phase right now, really, on how do you market it? How do you get the word out? How do you attract and retain new customers because of it? Because I truly do feel like it's a competitive advantage. And, for us, again, the benefits of being a commercial community bank is we have that touch that just some of the larger banks just don't really have. I mean, it's hard to hard to have that community feel at a larger institution. So our focus is kind of matching up the two, right? We have the ability of sending out payments with some of the national banks, but at the same time, we still have that community feel. And if you want to, you want to pick up the phone and talk to someone, we're here to talk to you. So I think that's really where we're at right now. Is how do we get the word out? How do we try to attract customers that way, and use that to our advantage to help out customers. So
your commercial space I mentioned is something that was getting more and more attention right now. You're obviously spending time on it as well. You're playing against some really big players, especially in the Midwest, because it's not just that they're big bank, but you got a lot of them. Yeah. On this good mid-range, mid-regionals, the number 5 through number 10, but the reality is you got number 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. How do you stand out when you're going against these type of companies that have the coin-outs, have all the other elements? How do you make a difference within your marketplace?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is the community feel, being a privately held bank that's Indiana-based, that customers like that, right? I mean, that's a benefit for us. Most of our colleagues are born and raised in Indiana, they have a deep sense of community. And so we want to use that to our customers. So that's probably the first thing. But then 2, you have to have the tools and everything else necessary to actually help the customer. Yeah. Large banks have departments that are bigger than our full employee base, that are running their digital teams, things like that. So you have to be able to compete with them in that stage. And so a lot of what we do is just